Welcome. My name is Becky. I'm the events director here at Cross Campus. Thank you all so much for coming out. This is our 8th, I believe, installment of RKS sessions, which focuses on design and user experience and products. If you don't know much about Cross Campus, we are a collaborative co-working space for entrepreneurs and creative professionals. This space is their work space during a normal day, and we'd like to have a lot of events here to promote collaboration and community and become a hub of activity. And through all these events, which are mostly technology-based, we found that there was a real hole in talking about products, the creative process, design, and user experience. And that's what we're trying to fill with this event. As Robbie spoke about himself at our last installment, every product, every company needs to learn to think like a designer, because design will come into every company in some way. And if you can do that successfully, then the chances of creating a successful product or company or app or whatever you're doing become exceptionally higher. So hopefully you learned a little something there. We're so happy to have David here. It's going to be really exciting to find out about some of the innovative ways that bicycles have helped problems that we can never imagine such a originally simple device can help. So thank you for being here. Thank you, RKS and Robbie. Thank you, David, and enjoy the event. I'm going to have Robbie come up here right now.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's very exciting to introduce David Zimberoff. He is someone I've known for decades now. As a talented industrial designer, he built the department at SRAM when it was a fairly small company. And today you'll see a wide variety of different applications of bicycles, where bicycles are going. You'll hear from someone who's extremely passionate about cycling, about the technology of cycling, and what he and SRAM are doing to make the world a better place through cycling. So David is a graduate of Art Center. He's an industrial designer. He is a very motivated and incredibly passionate person about everything he does. And I think that's led him to becoming very successful, moving from industrial design into marketing and being vice president of marketing of one of the largest suppliers of bicycle components in the world. I'm very pleased to introduce David Zimberoff.
Thanks, Henry. Well, thank you everyone here, and thanks for making time out of your busy schedules to come and learn about power bicycles. As Robbie mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Marketing at SRAM. SRAM is the second largest bicycle components manufacturer in the world, second to Japanese competitor Shimano. Founded in 1987, and again, as Robbie mentioned, I founded the Industrial Design Group and then later took over marketing. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about an interesting little phenomenon we call power bicycles. Before I jump in, I want you guys to think back about when you were a child and what the bicycle meant to you and what the bicycle enabled you to do. In this picture right here, boom, that's me. This is, circa, I'm not going to say, but this bike's a Dill Pickle. I have that vividly sort of imprinted in my mind. The Dill Pickle was my first bike, and it gave me such an incredible sense of freedom and empowerment, super powerful emotions, joy, freedom, and adventure. It really opened my world, as I'm sure it rocked yours as well. Who here in the crowd is a passionate cyclist? Half the room? No, just so it was an incredible feeling, and I was super excited to have gotten on the bike. Next up is a short video that I'm going to share with you about a boy who started out just like me. He was a cycling enthusiast at the age of 5. His dream was always to compete with his heroes, the legends of cycling sport. And so at the age of 14, he tried to enter a competition in Whistler called the Whip-Off World Championships. Anyone in the room know what a whip-off is? Or a tail whip? No, 2, 1, okay. Well, first. So a whip-off, for those of you that don't know, is where you go over a jump and you twist your body and the bike in midair and you bring the bike where the rear tire is in front of you. And then you whip it back and you land, hopefully successfully. So this is Finn Isles. Finn started riding at 5. He's now 14. This is the whip-off World Championships.
I don't know, I think I was like 5 when I first came to Whistler. And Craters is like, it's probably one of the best times of the year for me. You get to see all your idols come and ride here. And then sometimes you can ride with them. It's really sick. A couple weeks ago, I found out that I wasn't going to be able to compete in football. The hashtag let in, our listeners started that, and everyone started posting it. And eventually, I guess, just about people decided to let me in.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool that they let him in, like, unless you want on it. Like, he obviously could, but...
Best thing ever. It's going to be an awesome session. It's well. And it's good. You hear about this 14-year-old Finn Isles. Everybody's been talking about that. I used to come here and watch it, so we're waiting to see what he's getting thrown out. It's going to be awesome.
You know, that's just one side of the power of bicycles, transforming a child's dreams into reality. There's a ton of other powers within the power of bicycle. The bicycle has the ability to be a sustainable form of transportation. It has the ability to improve air quality. It has the ability to improve the environment through fewer emissions than an automobile. It has the ability to create an infrastructure that sustains that movement. It has the ability to improve health and reduce obesity. It has the ability, which I'll illustrate later, to increase performance in education and economic development. There's many things that contribute to this phenomenon that we call the power of bicycles. The power of bicycles truly is improving lives all around the world, not just kids and lifestyle activities. The story of SRAM that I'm going to share with you today is really in three parts. The first is the power within. That's going to talk about our story, how SRAM was founded, what we did. The second chapter is the power beyond, how we took our position in the industry and transformed a movement around advocacy and humanitarian issues. And the third chapter is the power tomorrow, where I'll talk about some trends, some observations that are going on in the bike industry around us. So starting off the power within, our story. This is a collage from the book that hopefully everybody got here. If you haven't, there's plenty up front. We commemorated our 25th anniversary by producing a book. These images are from the founding of SRAM in 1987. We got a picture right here, Stan Day, our co-founder and current CEO, featured there in the middle. So our story begins in 1987. The story is simple. We were challenging the status quo. What many of you in this room that are working entrepreneurs, and hopefully many of the guests that have come outside of this room, you know, if you're frustrated with something in life, you're challenging the status quo. For Stan, he wanted to improve the cycling experience. It started with shifters. Stan was a weekend warrior. He was an amateur cyclist. He was a triathlete. And road bikes in the days had these things. Long lever shifters on the down tube of a bicycle. The down tube of a bicycle is way down here. Your handlebar is up here. So if you wanted to shift 30 years ago a bicycle, what'd you have to do? Take your handlebars off the bike. Usually at a time where you don't want to take your handlebar or your hands off the handlebar. So Stan's idea was simple. He said, I want to figure out how I can take a shifter from the down tube and move it up to the handlebar with a twisting motion so I don't have to move my hands. So that was the idea. A friend of his was a mechanical engineer and an inventor, and he helped him realize the idea with a helical cam. This is a sliding mechanism that slid up and down. Inside this plastic barrel was a helical cam that enabled the pulling and releasing of cable that enabled the derailleur to move. Super simple idea, just a few parts. I think the whole thing only had 5 parts. It was incredible. And so that's the result. This is grip shift, generation 1, circa 1988, about a year after the company was formed. It wasn't met with great reception at first, but eventually, through perseverance, it took off. SRAM, so Stan, the founder, assembled a team. He got 5 guys together, so there were 6 of them. Before they incorporated, they had to figure out a name for the company. They all put their initials into a hat. Hence, SRAM was formed. They pulled out an S, they pulled out an R, they pulled out an A, they pulled out an M. So SRAM is an acronym for the founders' names. So SRAM is born, GripShift is launched. Success took a while. It took a lot of perseverance. The first couple of years, 87, 88, 89, we had dreams of hundreds of thousands of units. It wasn't until sort of 91, 92 that we started to see this upward growth. But when we did, it took off. And within 10 years, we were selling nearly 9 million sets of shifters in the business. From that point, we had what we considered a successful shifter business, but our customers were asking for more and more products. Our customers said, hey, we don't want to just buy a shifter from you, make us more stuff. So we did that. We invested a ton in organic product development, line extending shifters, started to make our own derailleurs, started to make brakes, but we knew that we couldn't do it fast enough. We were too hungry. We wanted more. Our customers wanted more. So we started a series of synergistic acquisitions. SRAM itself grew into being a supplier of drivetrain, brakes, and wheels in mountain bike, road bike, and urban cycling activities. These are some of the products that we make. And then in 1989, a guy by the name of Paul Turner, a motocross star, he decided he wanted to do a similar thing. So he took motorcycle technology, applied it to a mountain bike, and Rock Shops was born. That video is from a current campaign of ours that we're running called Proof Can't Bomb. Similar kind of theme, right? Challenge the status quo and proving that we can do things that other people say can't be done. So Rock Shop today, one of the brands in our portfolio, suspension forks, shocks, and seat posts. We continued the synergistic acquisition path. In 2004, we purchased a hydraulic disc brake brand called Avid. Later that same year, in 2004, we purchased an accessory brand, cranks, bar stand, and seat post called David. A couple years later, in 2007, we purchased a super high-tech carbon fiber, aerodynamic, high-end wheel company called Zip. And then most recently, in 2011, we purchased a brand called Cork. For the enthusiasts in the room who may know this, for those not so into the tech, Cork is a power meter for a bicycle. It's a series of strain gauges that fit inside the crank right here. And basically, as you pedal, the technology sends data to a head unit and displays power in the form of watts. It's sort of like a heart rate monitor for your legs. Super cool technology. So we had these synergistic acquisitions, and by the year 2006, so a few years before some of the latter acquisitions, but by 2006, we'd amassed enough technology and expertise that we figured we could no longer just deliver a shifter, but a complete group set. Our customers were asking for that. They were asking for a complete group set. So that's what we did. We embarked on a journey that would deliver a complete group set, taking all the different acquisitions and different pieces and putting them together in one cohesive group. One of the challenges, though, in the road bike business, the road bike business was dominated by two big competitors who've been in the business forever, Campaniolo and Shimano. They basically owned every single patent in shifting technology for road bikes, and that was the real key for us, sort of breaking the shifter down. Everything else we had protection on, but the shifter was really the key. So we studied the patents. This screen represents the patent law, or patent landscape. And you know, if you stand back and look at a patent, this is like one of those prove can't wrong things. A patent tells you everything that's been done, right? And some people may just stop there and be like, okay, it's been done, I can't do it. But patents to us tell not only what has been done, but also what hasn't been done. And so we put a lot of smart people in our advanced development and research development group, like, okay, study these patents, figure out what hasn't been done, and do that. So we did that. A couple years later, we invented this technology we call double tap, which you can kind of see in here. Double tap, the code name of the project was Leapfrog. And basically these two Paul mechanisms ratchet over one another like a childhood game Leapfrog. They ratchet over one another, allowing you to shift the shifter with one lever. You tap a short distance and you upshift, you tap a long distance and you downshift. Whereas the competitors were using two levers, we did the same thing with one with this mechanism. And studying that patent landscape allowed us to do that. It's an incredible invention. So this is the road grupo. This is the current one, SRAM Red, or current VEN. These are all the pieces, and we got all this technology from the various actuator systems. Brakes from Avid, cranks from Truvative. SRAM was already on its way for drivetrain, but it was a huge success. We then put it to the racing community, and this is me waving the frog flag. Our campaign, our marketing campaign at the time was called Make the Leap, from Leapfrog, from that technology. So we used this icon of a frog to highlight our campaign. And we thought to ourselves, okay, well, we're going to go race, we're going to go to Tour de France. What's going to happen when we get there? What are we going to do? How are we going to celebrate? So we printed up a bunch of frogs, and we had them ready. We didn't win this year, which was in 2007, which was our first year. But 2 years later, in 2009, we actually swept the podium of the Tour de France. The first place rider, the second place rider, and the third place rider all ride SRAM. It was a super exciting time. And you know, the scale of Tour de France, if you haven't followed it, it's pretty incredible. During the 21 days in July, over 30 million people put their eyeballs live in France, or another country that it starts or finishes in. 30 million people will watch Tour de France live. It doesn't count all the people that are watching it on TV. 30 million people. To make a comparison here locally, who's been to a Dodger game here locally? Couple? Few? How many people live? Over 80 games. 3.8 million. 3.8 million people saw Dodger games. 30 million people saw the tour. So it's a really incredible opportunity, which sort of exposes us in a much larger world. So today we're 3,500 people. Just step aside a little bit. 3,500 people, 17 locations speaking 7 languages. We're truly spread across the world, and we do development and design all over the world. In 2012, we commemorated our 25th anniversary. The book, again, is a commemoration of that in print form, but we produced a video, which I'm going to share, which sort of tells the SRAM story in 3 minutes or less.
Sometimes it's hard to believe we've been doing this for 25 years. We look back at our first place on Carroll Street in Chicago.
And we've gone from 6 employees in a single building
to over 20 locations on 6 continents.
And a staff of over 2,700.
Who knows? Maybe 25 years from now we'll be known as the company that taught fish how to ride a bike.
Sounds crazy, but so was taking on a competitor who controlled 85% of the market. After all, if changing gears for a twisted switch was a good idea, somebody else would have already done it by 1987, right?
And setting up a Taiwanese manufacturing facility with no contacts and little funding? Absurd.
Or venturing into components of the plastic derivative? Madness. Who does that?
We did. endlessly elated.
Because we believe that moving forward is a continuous journey.
And that risks lead to rewards.
So when we had the chance to acquire a steam German manufacturer,
We said yes.
And a suspension company that drove the development of mountain biking.
And Speed Freaks, making the sweetest carbon composite wheels on the market.
We said yes to that too.
That aptitude and attitude accelerated our evolution from a single product to a full line of components.
And the number one choice of everyone from leading professional cycling teams
To everyday cycling enthusiasts like me.
How did we make it happen? Easy.
By combining the right culture and the right systems with passionate, right, and left-brain people that love bicycles.
By hiring hands-on engineers who know how to create killer cycling gear in the ways that we use.
By designing, building, prototyping, fabricating, testing, breaking, cursing, commiserating, re-engineering, and repeating.
By making our environment a better place to work so we can make products that work better.
By developing advocacy programs like the SRAM Cycling Fund to promote cycling infrastructure, safety, and access.
By establishing humanitarian initiatives like World Bicycle Relief that move back and forward and back again.
By creating proprietary technologies and continually chasing perfection.
By emphasizing evolution more than growth.
By forging a culture more important than any paycheck.
To make the journey better for all of us.
For all of us.
For all of us. Improve your ride, improve your life, improve the world.
That's chapter 2, the power of beyond. So we talked about SRAM and where it's gone. You know, once we got to a certain point, we thought we really needed to invest in growing the industry. Not only growing the industry, but growing access. We formed a leadership position in the marketplace, and we felt a responsibility to give back. So we carved out 2 specific areas, cycling advocacy and humanitarian initiatives to do that, to add to this phenomenon we call power of bicycles. Cycling advocacy was our first foray into social responsibility. The numbers for bikes is kind of staggering, right? If you look around and you do metrics, over 2 billion bikes are in use today globally, every year. The projection by 2050 is that 5 billion bikes will be in use. So the numbers are staggering, and what that means is there's real opportunity, but there's also real problems, and those problems are access and infrastructure and safety on the cycling advocacy, the urban environment. To continue with some of the metrics, these are usage percentages in various countries around the world. In Japan, over 57% of the population rides bikes regularly. In Switzerland, 48% of the population rides bikes. In China, 37% of the population rides bikes. Now, to put that into a little bit more context, that's over 500 million people. That's a lot of bicycles. In Finland, 60% of the population rides. These are staggering numbers, right? They're only going to continue to grow as congestion and health and all the challenges with transportation increase. In Copenhagen, 52% of people ride to work or school daily. In the United States, bringing it back home, 29% of the population rides bikes. Now this used to be much lower. It's growing. Major cities all around the nation are doing their job to create access and infrastructure. But what's cool about this number is what other activity can you think of that 29% of adults are doing? It's a very, very short list, so it's pretty incredible. In LA, there's lots of great cycling things going. You guys have the weather. I'm from Chicago. I can't ride it right now. It's like 19 degrees and freezing rain right now. But LA's got great things. There's tons of stuff going on. You've got critical mass, you've got the Wolfpack Hustle, you've got, of course, you've also got WNBR LA. Does anyone know this one? No? I thought I'd get a few more people. So that's World Naked Bike Ride Day in Los Angeles. This is basically a naked critical mass that happens in major cities all around the world, but especially LA, San Francisco. And basically this is cyclists giving the finger to cars, saying, hey guys, you got your space, give us our space. It's a great movement, so check it out. So, these areas of infrastructure, safety, and access are critical to help enhance cycling in an urban environment. So in 2009, we created the SRAM Cycling Fund. The SRAM Cycling Fund was initially a vow to give $2 million a year to organizations that would specifically hit these three areas of safety, infrastructure, safety, and access. And so what we do is we identify great organizations all around the world, and we look to them to power these points. We don't look to fill grants ourselves. We want to fuel other people's fires. So these are among some of the organizations that we give money to enhance that mission. There's one group in particular that is our national governing body. That's People for Bikes. So they're the bicycle industry's national cycling advocacy group. It's their mission to work with the government, both locally and nationally, to fight for the bike. There's one project in particular that we're very passionate about. It's the Green Lane project. What a green lane is, this is a picture of a green lane. A green lane is a bike path that's protected, or a protected bike lane, either through paint, through a visual differentiator, through distance, creating a barrier, or through protected curbs or poles. So the Green Lane Project is a movement that we're helping to fuel People for Bikes' initiative in a major way. It's really transforming cities. I'm going to show you a video from People for Bikes about a Green Lane project that targets Memphis. Super exciting movement.
Move around our cities is changing.
Deep down inside, most folks just want the freedom of choice. Where they live, where they work, where they eat, and how they get from one place to another.
Across the country, more people are choosing bicycles as a way to get around. Half of all trips Americans make are less than 4 miles, an easy distance to ride by bike. And bike commuting has increased by 53% since 2005. Cities are encouraging this trend by building a new kind of bike lane, called a protected bike lane. Protected bike lanes are on-street lanes, which are separated from motorized traffic by curbs, planters, parked cars, or posts. Since 2011, the number of miles of protected bike lanes has doubled.
Protected bike lanes are the solution that makes riding on the street like riding on a trail.
So it makes biking an attractive option for a much wider range of people.
These projects are about livability, they're about economic success, they're about building community, they're about community happiness.
This is just part of the continuing effort to make Memphis a better city, a more livable city, to attract the type of young people and to keep the type of young people that we need.
Having these protected bike lanes improves the quality of life in our city, improves our economic competitiveness, and it allows us to draw employees, employers, and entrepreneurs.
People come here and they're always really refreshed. They see people out riding their bikes, they see protected bike lanes, and they understand that we're part of the modern world.
Protected bike lanes not only make it easier for people to get to a place, but they can help renew our years on a neighborhood. They can make it a place that you want to go to and be in rather than a place that you're moving through.
Obviously, as a business owner, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. And I think there's a major shift happening right now with this project. It's a real missed opportunity, if we don't embrace that. I
I think protected bicycle lanes, the real value of them is they benefit everybody. And it's not about serving cyclists.
What we're trying to do is order the streets so that they're easier for everybody to use, and so that they're predictable, and so that they're comfortable, and so that they're safe.
On those busy streets, if you create a separated protected place for bikes, drivers know where to expect bicyclists.
And we've seen speeds of cars come down, we've seen the number of bicycles go up, and we made it easier for pedestrians.
A study in New York showed that protected bike lanes reduce traffic crashes for all road users by 34%.
When you're going to protect the lane, you see like families and grandmas and like, you know, people who are just getting around. It's not like this crazy dangerous insane thing to do, it's just how you travel.
It's even more important to me to continue to advocate and push for more bike lanes and more bike infrastructure so that my daughter and I have safe places to ride.
In a recent study, 96% of people say protected bike lanes make them feel safer on the street.
If they could film more of them, I think more families would go out and get bikes and go out and enjoy and say, you know, hey, let's get to school faster that way, and it's safe, and we feel comfortable. And I don't feel like unsecure about getting on the road with my kids and worrying about them.
They open up the street to people who might not otherwise feel like they belong there. That really is saying like, this is a space for you, and you're supposed to feel safe in it.
The more people that choose to ride bicycles, the better the quality of life is going to be in your city, period.
The People for Bikes Green Lane Project is helping U.S. cities build better bike lanes. Learn more and join the movement to improve bicycling at peopleforbikes.org.
So we really like People for Bikes and what they're doing, what they stand for. They're helping to make cycling a better place for all of us. So that was the advocacy side of what we've been doing. We're going to switch to the humanitarian side. The humanitarian side is a really, really powerful place. And there's no better example to talk about humanitarian cycling initiatives than the World Bicycle Relief. This is a quote from our co-founder, brother of the president, Stan Day. And I'm just going to let you guys all read this for a moment. Right, pretty powerful stuff. World Bicycle Relief started out of the Indian Ocean tsunami in 2004. The 2004 tsunami devastated hundreds of thousands of people. FK, Stan's brother, flew over to Sri Lanka at the time in late 2004, saw the devastation, tried to figure out what he could do. He came back and wrote a manifesto for what now serves as the foundation of World Bicycle Relief, and founded World Bicycle Relief in 2005. This video sort of portrays a picture of one of the key initiatives that World Bicycle Relief contributes to. this is our end of year campaign, and I asked you all to give right now. But if you did ask me something, about powered bicycles, I talked about the powered bicycles in sport and lifestyle activities. I talked about powered bicycles in advocacy. But if you really ask me, that's the powered bicycles. To really, truly transform someone's life. It's just mind-blowing. So today, World Bicycle Week is mobilizing people through the powered bicycles all over the world. A lot of focus is on the Southern African hemisphere. To date, more than 225,000 bikes over the past 10 years have been distributed to people in need to help them get to school, deliver medicine, or bring products to market. 225,000 bikes. Those 225,000 bikes actually touch 10 people in a household or community. So that 225,000 is really more like 2.25 million. And to give you some context for that, 2.25 million, there's about 90,000 residents in Santa Monica. That'd be like 25 cities of Santa Monica side by side that it would impact. A different metric, Coachella. Anyone been to the music festival Coachella? Couple, 2, 3, 4. About same thing. There's about, what's the statistic? I think it's about 90,000 people that attend Coachella. That'd be 30 Coachella performances, one every day for a month. Dodger Stadium, again, the Dodgers analogy, I'm sorry for the few fans in here. Dodger Stadium holds 60-odd thousand people. That'd be 40 Dodger Stadiums filled with people that it would impact. So truly a big number. In addition to supplying bikes to children and healthcare workers and entrepreneurs, we also train mechanics. To date, this is an example of one of the mechanics in the thank you letter. We've trained over 1,000 mechanics in the area so that we create a sustainable movement. It's one thing to give a bike, but if you have no spare parts or supply or mechanics to help you fix them if they break down, you're really not doing it justice. So we've trained over 1,000 mechanics to date. And the results have been incredible. So in education, which is the largest pillar, we've seen attendance in school go up by 28% and grades go up by 59%. Can you imagine, the bike that saves you all this time, right? You walk to school, you walk home, you have no time for your chores. Before, you're literally walking to a well to get water. Now you've got all this time back. There's many examples like that. In healthcare, so we give bikes to healthcare workers to distribute medicine and supplies to patients. We've seen healthcare workers increase their number of patients by 4 times, and their employment as a healthcare worker has increased from 50 to about 90%. So jobs are lasting longer. In the area of economic development, we spend a lot of time looking at different entrepreneurs in the area and figuring out who could maximize the benefit of the bicycle. Milk farmers, goat farmers, chicken farmers, they all benefit. These entrepreneurs, they can travel 4 times further, they can carry 5 times more stuff, and generally they see their profits increase by 50%. This next video is about an entrepreneur named George. George is a chicken farmer. George sells chickens.
In Zambia, post-reproduction is very important. It helps improve the economies of a lot of households in the country. My family has been trained to keep the birds from day one to the point of sale. Once you finish selling, you would have to come back with the rubber. It was very, very hard coming back. And the rubber is very slow. Normally what we do is we still continue with the rubber, and then we talk with some chickens on the buffer, So immediately you hear those birds. Somebody comes to get another 6. Once they clear another 6, they keep on running, it's very, very fast. If you can 4 trips, it's 24 you have added, or even 5 trips, that will be 30. So for you to still 30, that will be done quite a lot. And on a daily basis, if you do that, you know you get something, you get very far.
It's really an advantage to have a bicycle because little bicycles break down very easy, but not these ones.
They carry a lot more than ordinary bicycle. At times you pity the bicycle, but the bicycle has helped us a lot, that made it easier to do business now.
I love George. Last year, I got an opportunity to meet people just like George. I attended a trip with Ravi and his wife Amalia. We went to Africa in October of last year. It was me doing the riding selfie, Ravi in the middle, and Amalia right behind Ravi. We went over there for 10 days to really experience what this transformative power of bicycles is firsthand. Bring it back here and see how we can make that impact our lives here. This is my wife Ann getting a high five from children. We built these bikes the previous day to learn how it is to build a bike. And then we rode about 10 kilometers from a drop-off point in the bush in the middle of Zambia. We rode 10 kilometers to experience what it's going to be like to walk from the farthest distance on a bicycle. And so we rode in, and this day we were going to distribute 200 bikes to children at school who walked to school that day. So we're getting high fives as we come in. This is the scene as we got there. Just picture 200 bikes all lined up, and the entire village and community is there to greet us. And there's this whole celebration ceremony of this bike distribution. These are the bikes as they're all lined up side by side. And then one by one, we would give the bikes away to a student. Again, who walked to school that day. 2 miles, 3 miles, 5 miles. It took them hours to get there. We hopped on a bike, and this shot, so this girl walked to school. She rode her sister or friend with her home, and we were following her. We followed her home on the walk that she walked. It's great. Got to meet her family, learn more about her and her daily life, see the well where she used to walk to get water from. It was really incredible. So that's the power of bicycles on a humanitarian level. The last chapter is this thing I call Power Tomorrow. The Power Tomorrow is going to talk about trends and just different things that we see going on in the bike industry, a little closer to home. The first one is this thing called the urban utility bicycle. Right now, there's a ton of talk going on in urban environments, congestion, air pollution, etc. And so there is a rise of the urban utility bike. Bikes like this one, this is the e-bike, huge growing movement. Already a massive movement in Europe and in Asia, less so in the United States, but it's coming and it's coming fast. There's a little bit of legislation that's blocking us. As soon as we sort out the legislation, this is going to come and it's going to come fast. Technology's gotten to a certain point. It's enabling batteries and motors to be light enough that e-bikes make sense. Even the car manufacturers are starting to take notice. This is a Ford e-bike concept from last year, where they're starting to take notice and realize that, cars aren't the only solution to urban mobility. And this is just one of many of the car companies. Locally, there's some great initiatives. This is a nonprofit called Bike Design Project. They put a challenge out to 5 development and design companies to partner with local bike builders to come up with the best urban utility bike. And out of those 5, this one rose to the top. This was produced in collaboration with an ID group in Seattle called Teague. It's called Denny. We're going to work with them and hopefully be the component supplier on this bike in the future. Super exciting movement. Denny's got all kinds of cool technology. It's got a U-lock integrated into the handlebar. It's got smart lights and sensors and cool racks, and it's modular, and it's just a great urban utility bike. So this trend is definitely growing. The next big trend that's growing is the smart bicycle. We all have smartphones, right? Or sometimes smartphones. The smart bicycle is the next sort of adaptation. And what do I mean by that? An example is like this product from Connected Cycle. It's a smart pedal. So it's a technology, there's technology embedded in the pedal. GPS sensors, pressure sensors that will track your movement, but also force and pressure and cadence and speed. This pedal will tell you if it's parked or if it's moving. So if someone steals your bike, you'll know because of the pedal. So this is just an example of smart bicycle technology. Another example is this Helios smart handlebar. The Helios smart handlebar, it's got a companion app to it. It's got lights and sensors. What's cool about this one that makes it unique is it's also got haptic sensors or vibration sensors in the handlebars that will give you tactile feedback to what's going on. Maybe it's a crash, maybe it's a hazard, maybe it's just I'm turning left, or someone's coming from the right. So really, really cool stuff. Another one is the Van Hox's Allure bike, another smart bike. This one's a fully integrated solution. So from bumper to bumper or tire to tire, this thing's got technology that would amaze you. Smart sensors, GPS, haptic. This one's even got a pothole sensor, where there's an accelerometer that can measure the bump in the road based on how quickly it happens. It can distinguish a speed bump from a pothole. It sends that data to the cloud and starts to populate a pothole chart or map. So really cool stuff. It's incredible what data can do. There's another great collaboration between Volvo cars, POC helmets, and Ericsson Electronics. They're collaborating on some smart sensors in bikes and cars. So POC has got some haptic sensors in the helmet. Volvo's got some sensors in the car, and they all work with each other to tell each other where I am in space. So if the car is about to hit a light, it knows, and each one will send a message to the other, either through vibration or an audible alert. So you can see a world where we're all connected and we're all looking out for one another through technology. That's the great smart bicycle. Huge, huge movement. There's also this other category for fun called fat bikes. Anyone seen fat bikes besides that? Fat bikes is really cool. Fun. It's a regular mountain bike, but it's got really, really big tires. These things are like 4 or 5 inches wide, and they go over snow, they go over ice, there's studs, they go over sand, they can plow through anything. Super fun. And then there's the fat e-bike, right? This is a hybrid. This is actually a current bike. You can't get this here, but you can get it in Europe. So it's a fat bike and it's an e-bike, the ultimate hybrid, right? So it's really interesting to see what's coming and what's coming next. Those are just a few of the many, but those are some of the broad topics or broad themes that are happening right now. Of course, there's hundreds and hundreds of others that are happening all around the world. But this is really, what we feel embodies the power of cycling, why we feel so excited about the power within, the power beyond, and the power tomorrow. We believe that the power of bicycles is improving the world around us. Thank you.
So we have a couple of minutes. If anyone has any questions for David?
I'm here all night.
So one of the big problems, I think, is theft of bikes. Can you give us some metrics on that?
I missed the word.
One of the big issues, I think, is theft of bikes. Can you give us some metrics about how many bikes get stolen And also, what are some of the solutions that you see coming?
So the question was, do I have any metrics about, or one of the big problems is theft of bikes. And do I have metrics? And what's being done about it? I can't answer all the questions, but I can comment on it. It is a good one. And it is something that technology is starting to improve and enhance the area of theft. If you just go on Google or Kickstarter or whatever, and search bike theft app, you'll likely find a dozen bike theft apps. And some of these smart technology concepts are addressing that. Having technology embedded in the bike and being able to track it, like low jacks through your car, is happening. So we don't currently play in that space, but it is something we're watching. We have a small investment in a company called Project 529. They're in Portland. And they've designed an app where you register your bike, you register your serial code or your serial number. If you don't have a serial number, they provide one for you. You put it on your bike, register it with the app. The app is recognized by law enforcement because it's a serial number trackable thing. If your bike is stolen, you then report that to your community around you, and then your community is alerted and then followed with law enforcement. So it's happening in small ways, but it is happening.
Hi there. I wanted to know, in Africa, the bikes that you send there, what's the average lifespan for a bicycle? And if you have a shorter than projected lifespan, do you build infrastructure to repair things there?
Sure, great question. So the question was, what's the average lifespan of one of those bicycles in Africa? And is there an infrastructure for service and repair and maintenance? So the average lifespan is typically about 10 years, which outlasts all the competitor bikes by 10 years. The competitor bikes typically last a year. We have designed and engineered the bicycle that you see. And the bicycle that you saw in the video only cost $134. We have designed that bike and sourced it so well and made it so affordable to raise money for in the sort of sense. It's only $134. But we do, I don't know if you caught we train mechanics locally in every community that we go to. We looked at this problem of access to a reliable bicycle and really solved it in a 360-degree way. So we don't just give people bikes, or we don't just sell people bikes. It's our responsibility to ensure that those bikes have spare parts and service and maintenance. So we train mechanics in every town, community, village to supply that. Anyone else?
So in the sport bike community, in the sport bike community, the bikes have, other than the materials, haven't changed dramatically in many, many years. We've tried different shapes of parts, and we've done that. And we've tried new materials, we've done that. What drives SRAM in its direction in the development of the sport bike market? Where are you getting your ideas? How are you vetting your ideas? What are you looking at in your competitors?
Excuse me. I thought I said you couldn't answer that question. So let me see if I can paraphrase that question. The question was, where do we get our ideas from? And what are we looking at to enhance technology or grow technology? What is SRAM doing to evolve the sport from a technological perspective and an innovation perspective? Is that okay? So we invest heavily in product development. We have hundreds of designers and engineers all around the world, and a lot of those ideas come from within. Of course, we're always looking to the outside as well, and as you can imagine, any big company attracts a lot of followers, and we get a lot of people coming to us and saying, hey, you know, we've got this great idea, what do you think? And we follow the proper channels of intellectual property and protection to ensure that that happens in the right way, because of course we're doing that ourselves. But a team of really smart engineers in research and development, mechanical, electrical, etc. So we're constantly on the search for cool new stuff. We do that on an operation and user level, but we also do it on a material science level. And so we're also looking at unique composites and what to bring that's lighter, faster, easier to manufacture. So we're doing it on a material science level and on an innovation and user level. So both ourselves and from the outside. I'd say it's a balance. A lot of companies these days, big, small, have a balance of internal and external ideas. I'd say the majority of what we do is organically developed in-house, but occasionally there's some great things that happen. And let's not forget the acquisitions. We're always looking for synergistic acquisitions to grow. Now that we've sort of covered the whole bike though, it sort of limits where we can grow. So not too much of that's left. So, that answer? Yeah.
Anybody else? No, I'm going to ask questions.
I just had a very quick question on the road by Shorty. You train the mechanics. Do they get paid by the charity to continue to be mechanics, or I can't imagine they could devote that much time on volunteer basis?
Yeah, so good question. So the mechanics that we train for World Bicycle Relief, do they get paid by World Bicycle Relief? The easy answer is no. So we train them. We supply them with access to parts, materials, and we also supply them with a community of bicyclists, right? So we don't overtrain mechanics in any one area. So we'll put, a couple thousand bikes into a community, and we'll train the appropriate number of mechanics. So we've got the number, we've got the ratio of how many mechanics does it take to service and supply, X amount of bikes in said area, so that that person can charge for their services, buy spare parts, and make a living. So we're actually creating jobs.
I'll ask the last question. Dave, this is something I kind of related to when we were in Africa. The look on the kids' faces when they got those bicycles was touching, was profound. It was like something we'd never seen before. And I remember getting my bicycle as a kid, but maybe you can just talk a little bit about the depth of the meaning of the bicycle was those families. I mean, you showed us pictures of that, but there was a very special emotional connection that we saw that I don't think I've seen before, and it was consistent among all these children whose lives were about to change, and they were able to change their families' lives. Maybe you can just elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you already did a great job in your question, right? But I'll sort of repeat it in my own words. In sub-Saharan Africa, there are no cars. There's some delivery trucks for major infrastructure. In the bush, there are no cars. So a mechanized vehicle, be it combustion engine or human powered, it's like this major gift, right? It's something that has such a value on so many levels, right? Carry things, get further, earn more money, have more time. That I think that's the power of the bike in that environment. And so that's how transformative it was, right? I mean, these families and these children, they walk everywhere. Sometimes with shoes, mostly without, right? You saw the one picture of the woman, she was sweeping the dirt in front of her home. She was just sort of preparing her home for the day. She was just sweeping the dirt to get some of the major leaves and clutter out of the way. Her floor was the earth. It's so completely different and foreign to how you and I live here. And so the bike comes in, boom. It's this force of transformation that just has a major impact. And truly, it's the power of bicycles. That's the power that it has. Right? I mean, Robbie, we experienced it firsthand. It was incredible. I mean, we gave, I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but we rode into the school one day to give away 200 bicycles to students, to kids who walked to school that day. Their lives were turned upside down that afternoon, right? What took them an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to get to school, boom, just got completely wiped away. They got so much more from that bike than they can even, well, they imagine, they know, and that's that look. That's that look of joy, of pleasure, of happiness, of time, of weight, of distance, of life.
Thank you, Dave. Powerful stuff. Thank you.
Okay.